I was talking about not. I know zero. This is a thing. I haven't done it. I've shot at the range twice.
Accuracy. Yeah. You're saying at 25 you seem to be pretty accurate, and at 100 you seem to be all over the place, right? By the way, funny thing is, where I get this most is from my cop students, particularly ones that come to me because they're failing on their qualification, meaning their test, their shooting test. And if they can't pass the shooting test, they lose their job, or they don't get their job if they're in academy. So they're like, yeah, well, close distance is 5, 7 yards, meters. I'm pretty accurate. I'm shooting fine. I'm shooting in the middle. And then at 15 and 25 yards, I'm shooting all over the place. I'm like, no, bro, it's because you're shooting all over the place at all distances. Let's talk about accuracy versus precision. What is accuracy? To you, what is accuracy?
It's the difference between roughly where you're able to shoot at versus where the target you're intending to shoot at.
All right, pretty cool. I'll take that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So accuracy means hitting the target. Very simple. Accuracy means hitting the target. So precision means if this is a machine, is the machine doing what it's supposed to do exactly the same way every single time? I'll give you an example. If I have a CNC machine, computerized controlled machining, like cutting metal, okay, and it makes a part, and every time the part fits, that's accurate. The part fits in my other machine that I'm making, right? Whatever I'm making parts. Let's suppose I'm machining parts to go into a car. Does the part fit in my car? Well, what if that's a Lada, or that's a some old tractor, and it's a very loose, tolerant part, and like it just doesn't have to be working very well, or it's an AK-47, with pretty loose, tolerant parts. Well, that's accurate. The parts are working. It's functional, okay? On the other hand, is the part exactly the same and working properly, exactly the way it's supposed to work every single time? If we're making a hammer, you can have a pretty loose, tolerant hammer, and it's going to work. But if we start making, microchips, or start making rocket engine parts, or start making jet turbine parts, then we're starting about like the 10,000ths of a millimeter type tolerances. We're in the business of precision. Does the machine do exactly what it's supposed to do every single time? So you can have a rifle, which is very precise, but it is calibrated wrong, or you don't know how to use it, and therefore you're not hitting the target. I'll guarantee you have a high quality rifle. I'll guarantee your rifle is very precise. Again, it should be shooting 4 minutes of angle or better. To give you an example of that, 4 minutes of angle meaning 4/60ths of an inch. Right? So if we take an arc and we shrink down this arc to 1 degree, I'm sorry, 4/60th of an inch, 4/60th of a degree. I'm dumb. Right? 4/60th of a degree. That's what your rifle is supposed to put out, or better. If I take a degree, I take this angle, this arc, and I shrink it down to 1 degree, and then I cut it to 60 parts, and then I take 4 of those 60 parts of a degree, that's what your weapon is capable of. Basically, to describe it in another way, a rifle is a high precision garden hose, a high collimated, highly focused flashlight beam. If I take a laser or flashlight beam and I focus, I kind of turn the bezel and focus it until it's so narrow focused that it's only putting out less than a degree. In fact, less than 1/10 of a degree, less than 1/2 of a 1/10 of a degree. That's a very, very fine garden hose. Think about the garden hose, and it's got the wide spray, and then it's got like the cone, and then it's got the jet. That's what the rifle is. It jets a very, very tight beam of those bullets. Okay, so don't think about the rifle as putting out one bullet. Think about the rifle putting out probability of an infinite number of bullets that are going to land somewhere in this cone. They're going to go somewhere in this cone. And if we have a machine gun, for example, it's going to be a very wide cone. If we have a highly precise rifle, it's going to be a very, very narrow cone. And this is not the most precise rifle, but certainly more precise than machine guns, certainly more precise than shotguns. Okay? And that's the idea of precision. Now, at very close range, with a low amount of skill, because you're new, that's okay. With a low amount of skill and with the weapon not calibrated properly, you can still hit a big target. That's accurate. But because you're not calibrated properly, because you're not using it in a high precision manner, you're not able to see the precision it's capable of. This is one of the least precise weapons I own. It's capable of exactly 5 minutes of angle without a scope and 4 minutes of angle with a scope. That's the best I can do as a professional, highly skilled, highly trained shooter. This one should be able to do 3 minutes of angle This one can easily do 2.5 minutes of angle. That one can easily do 1.5 minutes of angle with proper ammunition, just to put things in perspective, right? Even though I'm giving you an easy round number of 4 minutes of angle today, they do have a varying degree of how precise they are. Having said that, if someone's not skilled, or if someone's not paying attention to trying to do their best to shoot accurately, to shoot precisely, they're not going to see that difference. Funny story about working in Ukraine, right? I'm asking my translators to translate this conversation right here, and we could not get the level of nuance in the language. Even the best translators couldn't quite figure out how to translate precision and accuracy, because either way the word came out as точность, which is like accuracy or precision, or how particular it is, and that word точность translated both. And so like we were stuck, even with the best translators, we were stuck on how to translate this conversation. Funny, right? Language limited our ability to teach this. So, but in English, we can precisely define what is accurate, hitting the target, and what is precise, not necessarily hitting the target, but hitting the same spot every single time. Okay? All right, good. Let's break.